Hey everyone, 4 months ago I started a series where I talk about every movie I watch every single month, and this is part 3 of that series. I unfortunately was very busy for March and April, so this time around I'm combining the 2 months. Let's not waste anyone's time and get into the movies I watched in both March and April 2026.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
This movie pissed me off. I watched Scream 6 a few years ago and did a short review on it. I thought it was incredibly mediocre, and I did not have high expectations going into 7, and it somehow was so much worse than I expected. Now a disclaimer, I have only seen Scream 6 and I did not bother with any of the others. Maybe I'll check out the original someday, but I have no interest in the sequels. So when Scream 7 just tossed a bunch of cheap fan service in my face, I had no idea what was going on and felt my time was being wasted. All of the characters are bumbling idiots. Most of their deaths are entirely avoidable. Like, I get this is supposed to be a parody or some shit, but it's just parodying itself at this point. I kid you not, most of the kills happen in just one scene in the bar. So you're just sitting around waiting for something to happen for most of the movie. The 3 killers are also so fucking dumb. The film does such a job explaining that I had to do some research while writing to figure out what the other 2 guys are even there for. The entire motive for the main Ghostface is that Scream 6 was yeah, that was it. It wasn't funny the first time it was mentioned. It still isn't funny the 13th time it was mentioned. Again, I don't even know who the this guy is. He had 1 scene prior. The first Ghostface that gets killed has like 1 single shot of him before he gets killed. I think in total the unmasked killers have 4 scenes total before the reveal, and none of them are even connected to the main characters in any way. The film just pulls this reveal out of its thinking it's being clever. Just because you didn't see it coming doesn't make it a good twist. This is so dumb. Scream 7 is a sad film that thinks it's doing something cool and inventive, but it really doesn't do anything memorable at all. 1.5 stars.
And let me tell you something right now. Me and George, we get our asses kicked.
I love my slop monster movies, East or West. Rampage is about 3 animals who get infected with an experimental pathogen, which turns the 3 into giant monsters. It follows Dwayne Johnson trying to find a cure for one of the monsters, George, who was a gorilla under his care. Now, this is a dumb movie, but it really excels in that to deliver a truly fun watch. It never takes itself too seriously and is able to just throw things at the screen, which works for the better. It is also surprisingly well paced. The movie runs at a little under 2 hours, but it never feels that long. The film's strongest aspect is the monsters. This is based off the arcade game Rampage, and for the most part, it does a decent job bringing it to life. The 3 monsters are great. George has a bunch of great scenes, the plane crash being his main one to shine. Ralph the Wolf is also a very fun and unique monster. They gave him the most random mutations from the pathogen, so he can just glide like a sugar glider or flying squirrel, and he's got these quills like a porcupine that he could just shoot out at any attackers. His introduction in the woods is one of the film's best set pieces. And of course, Lizzie the crocodile, who makes a late appearance in the film, but really makes her mark as probably my favorite of the 3. The film's incredible CGI does wonders for bringing these things to life. They feel huge and they look real. The fight scenes in this film are so animalistic and brutal. This film is not afraid to show blood, and it does a great job using these monsters to their fullest potential. Of course, I would call this a pretty fun film as well, both intentionally and unintentionally. George is a highlight with the comedy, and some of the unintentional comedy is from the main trio, who sometimes take themselves way too seriously. The human antagonists are also cartoonishly stupid, and their plan is possibly one of the dumbest ones I've ever seen in a film. And through these characters, we get up to 3 explanations of things we've already seen on screen. It is so dumb, but it's part of the charm of Rampage. Is it good? No. Is it a blast to watch? Yes, it is, and for that, I'm gonna have to give it 3 stars.
You're doing it wrong.
Will you just let me? I can't.
Surf's Up follows Cody Maverick, a penguin who has dreamed of surfing since he was a child. After entering a surfing competition in memory of his childhood hero, he soon finds out that he's way over his head and has to rediscover who he truly is. I actually really like this film. I've heard great things about it in the past, and finally watching it, I definitely see the appeal. It has a very unique style to it, taking this documentary approach to many of its moments, and it really helps it stand out, while also delivering exposition in a natural way. It is paced extremely well, it slows down when needed, and is as thrilling as the waves in the film when it needs to. The animation style is also very good. It holds up to this day and doesn't feel dated almost 20 years later. I found all the characters very enjoyable. Cody goes through a very satisfying arc of letting go of the need to win a contest and just enjoying surfing for what it is. His character bounced off of Big Z's very well, who also goes through a nice arc of rediscovering his love for the sport. These two characters play off so well together, and it leads to some of the film's funniest moments. I cannot stress how funny this film is. I audibly laughed at a good majority of the jokes. This film is very comfortable balancing its weird comedy style and its emotional moments, and it leads to such a great viewing experience. I definitely recommend it, and Surf's Up gets 4 stars.
What you currently have in your mouth is art!
I want to say I haven't watched The Iron Giant in 7 years. It was one of my favorite movies growing up, and getting back to it was great. The Iron Giant follows a giant alien robot who crashed on Earth and lost its memory. And through its friendship with a young boy, it discovers what it means to be human and that it doesn't need to be what it was created for. The very small cast is great. Hogarth and the Giant have such a great bond in this film, and it delivers some of the best scenes the film has to offer. The movie itself is really funny and delivers plenty of good laughs, and this movie really hits with its message. The story revolving around a robot built to be a weapon, giving it a soul, and it choosing not to be that weapon and changing its fate. I love how it isn't afraid to tell its primarily kid audience about serious topics like death and how your body may die someday, but souls live forever. This is truly an incredible film, and I do not want to spoil much for those who haven't watched it. I highly recommend The Iron Giant, and I'm going to give it 4.5 stars.
It's not just a boulder, it's a rock.
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone follows Harry Potter as he's introduced to this world of magic he was unknowingly born into, and begins to find his place in it. Now, my only exposure to Harry Potter before this was Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley at the Universal Studios parks in Hollywood and Orlando. I thought those lands were very immersive, so finally watching the movie it was all based on was great. The movie does a great job setting up this mystical world while not giving too much away just yet. The story is quite simple, which helps when it comes to establishing this universe, and that also gives the film plenty of time to get to know its characters, and the film gives them all plenty of chances to show their unique strengths. The film does a lot of good setup for future films with glimpses at Voldemort and his motive. I don't have too much to say about this film. I do think it's really good. It is a great first impression for this world, and I am excited to watch its sequels in the future. Sorcerer's Stone is a simple but great watch, and I definitely recommend it. 3.5 stars.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP!
Kong Skull Island is better than it has any right to be. Being a prequel to 2014's Godzilla, the movie follows an expedition team making their way to a newly discovered island shortly after the Vietnam War. Once landing on this island, they run into Kong and have to find a way to survive the horrors of Skull Island. The first thing I need to applaud this film for is its characters. The other MonsterVerse films do not excel in this department at all, but Kong Skull Island delivers a great ensemble cast, mixing nuanced character moments with comedy, and it's the only MonsterVerse film which has been able to do this. Samuel L. Jackson as Colonel Packard is the best human antagonist in the series. Samuel L. Jackson delivers an amazing performance showing this war-hardened man slowly losing his grip on reality. He's feeling discarded by his government after all he sacrificed for it. He has only known war, and he refuses to see the reality of the situation, and it ends up getting him killed. John C. Reilly as Hank Marlowe is also easily my favorite protagonist of the MonsterVerse. He is just so much fun, and his story of trying to get back to his family is truly the emotional heart of the film. The movie would not be what it is without him. There's some great supporting characters like Tom Hiddleston as James Conrad, John Goodman as Bill Randa, and the Soldier Ensemble. The film manages to give a solid cast while also not sacrificing great kaiju action, and this is truly some of the best there is. Combined with the amazing CGI, fluid animation, and the stunning cinematography, Kong Skull Island has a charm to it that many American monster films can't match. I could really talk about this film all day, and maybe someday I'll give it a dedicated video, but I have a couple of other films to get to, so I'll wrap it up. If you want a kaiju film that has a bit more to offer than mindless action, but still delivers on that front, Kong Skull Island is the movie for you. 4 stars. Warm Bodies is a comedy that follows a zombie falling for a girl and rediscovering what it means to be human. I can't lie, this was a fun time. Once you get past its pretty absurd premise, there's plenty of enjoyment to be had here. The characters are all pretty likable and funny. I really like the best friend zombie. He's got some of the funniest moments in the film. The film pokes fun at many tropes of the zombie genre, and the zombies themselves are all pretty fun and unique. I don't have a lot to say about this one, but it's funny, has a lot of character to it, and it's a great watch. 3 stars.
Bees in the trap. Bees in the trap.
The Hitman's Bodyguard is a buddy cop film with Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson. It's very similar to Central Intelligence, which I watched last month, but I much prefer this one. The plot is simple. It's about a court case of this dictator, but every witness coincidentally is killed before they can testify. Samuel L. Jackson's character is the next in line to testify, being a former hitman, and he has to team up with one of his rivals, Ryan Reynolds' character, to get to the court alive. This film is mostly built on comedy, but it does have its fair share of emotional moments. Nothing special, but it does get the job done. The action is all pretty great, the film is paced very well, Ryan Reynolds is great, but Samuel L. Jackson is the highlight. It amazes me how versatile he is, even just comparing the 2 movies I watched in March with him. Hitman's Bodyguard is a very fun watch and I do recommend. 3 stars.
Yo, Mr. White, someone's at the door.
Who is it?
Yo, Mr. White, someone's at the door.
Jesse, we have dementia.
Yo, Mr. White.
El Camino is a sequel to the Emmy Award-winning show Breaking Bad, following the character Jesse Pinkman as he tries to find freedom after the events of the show's final episode, as well as reliving the horrors he faced in the show's final season. This feels like an extended epilogue episode to the show, and it's great. It serves Jesse's character well, and his story is incredibly satisfying, because if anyone deserved a somewhat happy ending in this show, it was him. The cinematography is great as well. There's some shots in this film I just adore. My favorite being this montage shot of Jesse searching Todd's apartment. The main thing I want to touch on is the claim that this film is unnecessary, which I cannot disagree with more. One of the biggest issues with season 5 of the show is how it sidelined Jesse for Walt, which with all that has come after, of course it might not seem like a big deal, but Breaking Bad was not exclusively Walt's story. Jesse was an integral part, and he was just kind of dragged along for the ride in the final season. The story would not be better with him riding off and leaving it up to the audience. He had trauma, personal issues, and an entire story arc that wasn't resolved. El Camino fixes those issues and gives the character the attention and resolution he was robbed of in season 5. It isn't as good as the show, but it's not supposed to be. It's an extension of it, a final look at a character who shaped the show for its entire run. El Camino is a worthy addition to the Breaking Bad universe and worth the watch. 4 stars.
That's a lot of fish.
The Producers is a musical comedy following a failing producer and an accountant attempting to make money off of a flop. Shenanigans and chaos ensue. There's 2 major things to talk about with this film, the comedy and the music. Luckily, both are pretty great. There's plenty of funny moments throughout the film, and the music is more often than not very catchy. There's a couple of them that do tend to go on longer than they should, but it's nothing holding the film back. The plot and story progression is so chaotic. The film bounces from moment to moment in such an entertaining fashion. I don't have much to say on this one, but I do recommend. My words cannot describe how fun The Producers can be. 3 stars.
Leave me alone, Freddie Mercury! You're supposed to be dead!
So you think you can stone me and spin my
No!
Yeah, I don't know about this one. A tricky thing about biopics is a lot of them unfortunately do not have the person of interest alive to tell their story. Bohemian Rhapsody is unfortunately one of those, and it really shows. It is a very watered down and PG version of Freddie Mercury's story, and this legend deserves something grander than this film has to offer. I can go into the inaccuracies and all of that, but I don't have an issue with that. If I wanted it 100% accurate, I would watch a documentary, but at the same time, the changes should be based in reality. I don't feel this film is capable of telling this man's story or even the band's story as a matter of fact. It shies away from the darkest moments, it fabricates things not based in reality whatsoever, and it tries to tackle so much that nothing truly sticks. In terms of filmmaking, this film is just fine. Nothing crazy offensive, nothing mind-blowing, but in terms of Queen and the legacy Freddie Mercury left behind, I can't help but wish for something more. I made a video earlier in this channel's life on Rocket Man, but I can't help but compare. One film takes reality and is able to turn it into an engaging and heartfelt narrative with amazing musical set pieces. The other feels like it's afraid to dive into its protagonist and explore both the good and the bad, but I guess that's a product of Elton John fortunately being around to tell his story, while Freddie Mercury is not. Once again, as a film, it's a perfectly good watch with all the greatest hits, but as a fan of the music, I can't help but want something more. 2.5 stars.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
I was debating on whether or not I should even include this with my watched films, but I've decided to leave it at just a review of the product showing at the Las Vegas Sphere, and not the original Wizard of Oz. This version of the film cuts a quarter of the original runtime, while also extending scenes to amplify the effect of the Las Vegas Sphere, which sounds cool and all, but this is heavily reliant on AI. The whole thing has an uncanny feel that you just can't shake for the entirety of its duration. Cutting major parts of the film just chops up the original intent of the filmmaker, and severely weakens it. For many, this is their first exposure to this film, and it's a shame it was put together like this. I have more complaints with the actual Sphere itself, from its seating just packing all of its guests like sardines, to once again making a profit off of what is 95% AI slop. I would not recommend this, and if you want to experience The Wizard of Oz, watch it in its original form from the comfort of your home. If you want to experience the Las Vegas Sphere, watch a concert or something, I don't know, but this is not something to write home about. Wizard of Oz at the Sphere gets no stars. Second biopic of the video, and I much prefer this one. I'm a bit biased because Michael is just a blast to sit through. The music is so good, the visuals are all great, and it's just an overall solid and enjoyable film. There's a bunch of stuff it was not able to cover for a multitude of reasons, which I think is incredibly unfortunate, as those topics were something that deserved attention, but hopefully the inevitable sequel can touch on some of those aspects. This does follow a lot of biopic norms, and part of me wishes it tried to stand out on its own a bit more, kind of like Rocketman, but I still think it did a decent job painting a picture of Michael Jackson, even if it has a multitude of inaccuracies and details it chooses to leave out. I liked it. That's about it. 3.5 stars. And that is the movies I watched in March, April, and May 2026. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you soon for the June edition of this series. If that is already uploaded, it will be popping up in the card right now, and the previous video in the series will be popping up on the left. If either of those catch your eye, I will see you there.